Rene worked on his project in the garage for a couple days, and on the third day, he became aware of exactly what time the information about the person whose home he's building is downloaded into his brain. He woke up with a start and found himself standing next to his bed. He looked at the time. It was 12:12. He appreciated the meaning of that number, 12 signifying absolute completeness. But as his brain began slowly processing the sudden surge of information, he realized why he woke up with such a start. His old teacher, Mr. Halas, was being resurrected. He remembered how he loved to hear his stories about what happened in certain parts of history. He remembered Mr. Halas telling him how he worked for the Tsars of Russia as a staff member, tasked with keeping their papers organized. He remembered the Bolsheviks storming the palace and how he'd hid under the tables where no one should be able to fit, and how he had to watch them slaughter everyone in the room. But somehow they missed him. He remembered how time and time again he tried to escape Russia, only to have his plans fall apart. He said he was angry at God because it seemed like only God could ruin his plans so thoroughly. But his attitude changed, and Mr. Halas never said why. As his brain continued to sift through the information, Rene realized the answer. Mr. Halas was instrumental in helping the Jehovah's Witnesses in Russia. Mark was his first name. Mark saw himself in the witnesses. No one protected Mark, but he was going to be there to protect them. He hid their literature in his house, warned them when surprise inspections were coming. He even snuck care packages onto a train bound for Siberia, so the brothers and sisters there could enjoy a little vodka to help them warm on the cold nights. He did marvel at how long a bottle would last with them. Mr. Halas lived long enough to see the fall of the communist regime in Russia and the Berlin Wall. His happiest moment was realizing that the witnesses were now free to preach in Russia. He died shortly after that, peacefully in his bed. Rene experienced what almost felt like physical jolt when his brain processed this next bit of information. That information was meant for him. It was a request from a member of the 144,000 that knew Mr. Halas. Eventually, Mr. Halas will ask why he was resurrected, even though he never became a Jehovah's Witness. The request is for Rene to tell him, "You took care of my little sheep. Now we're going to take care of you." The details of Mr. Halas' life unfolded before him. All of his likes, dislikes, desires, skills, and preferences became clear as day. He knew that his crew would have a good time building this house. He wondered if they would know about the request, or was that for his brain only. He went out on a run. There was no way he was sleeping after that, and patiently waited for the sun to rise. He reminded himself that he's got to find the time to get a telescope for gazing at the stars. He did this morning routine and was warmly greeted by everyone at the job site. "What a privilege! Building a home for your old teacher. I can't wait to see what the architects are going to do with this. By the way, Rene, I have a little surprise in store for this house." Well, you know how Mr. Halas was always obsessed with the future, always looking for sci-fi anything. Well, Chris has finally perfected a solar panel that has 65% efficiency. Now we can generate the power to do what Chris always wanted to do for a home, completely automate it. Rene's friend, Aiden, excitedly told him the details of the plan. "That's all great, Aiden," Rene interrupted, "but you still haven't told me what the house is supposed to do." Aiden's eyes lit up with excitement. "That's the best part! Mark Halas is going to tell us. The level of automation is completely up to him. He'll dictate exactly what he wants done, automatically." "Well, let's get with our coordinator and start getting supplies brought in. I told myself we'd have a good old time building this house. I had no idea." Rene, in his usual style, ran over to the coordinator's office, eager to get this project started.